Hello folks, and welcome to What the Luck, a quick breakdown of everything that we currently know luck related when it comes to Tactics Ogre Reborn. So this is something of a hidden stat that's a little bit hard to quantify at times, but basically the general idea is that it is a number that goes up and down based on the day that helps with your, it kind of helps as a secondary roll occasionally when it comes to your different chance rolls, so to speak. Now, whether or not this affects every single roll is, to be honest, kind of unknowable without somebody going and completely checking every single bit of the data, and realistically, I don't think anyone's going to care. So, here's kind of what it breaks down to as far as I'm aware. Anytime that there's a chance roll that is not 100%, luck has a chance to step in and say, hey, wait, hold on, I gotta have a say in this. So, essentially, there's going to be a few items that boost luck. You have Denim's Starting Necklace, the Azure Necklace, the Bend of Fortune, and the +1 variant, which are all going to be giving you +10 and +20 in the form of the Band of Fortune here. You additionally have 15 luck available from both Alluring High Boots and Alluring Boots, which the red variants are basically just the worst version of the fancy variants. Essentially, think about it as the corner store stripper as opposed to the fancy escort there. That's not dark at all. Anyway, so you get 15 luck off of each of those, but you just have better defensive and stat bonuses off the dress as opposed to the corset, and the high boots as opposed to the boots. Now, why exactly would you even go for luck in the first place? What exactly does it do? Well, essentially, before we even get into that, I should say that just like many of the other stats, it seems to be a range of 0 to 100. In the PSP version, you seem to be able to completely overflow this. In Reborn, I believe it's just capping out at 100, because I haven't seen a lot of the ultra silly interactions that you could do there. Namely, for example, you could do things like equip things like a rank 12 parry, as well as something to the tune of like 150 luck, and then you would just parry everything forever. Now, in this particular case, it seems to have been made a little bit more sane, but anytime that there's a chance roll, it seems to have a chance to save you. So, for example, when I was going and testing units and their parry odds, I was regularly seeing 2% blocks coming out of the unit being tested there. Now, is this something that you necessarily need to be relying on when you're going and making your builds? Not really. This is more of just like a fancy thing that you can do. As you can tell right there, he doesn't even have a crit card, and he's able to naturally land crits with his currently maxed out luck. Now, you don't have to be completely maxed out in order to do so, but it does unlock the ability to unlock natural crits. I believe somewhere in about the 75 to 80% category, give or take. Additionally, it should be noted that your luck doesn't quite reset, but it's also not quite permanent. So basically, it goes up by the day. Every day, you just might have a lucky day, you might have an unlucky day. If you're equipping a bunch of luck items, you're just going to have a fantastic time all the time. So, in the case of this guy right here, while it may not necessarily affect every one of his rolls to the point where they're going to be perfect, he is generally speaking going to be achieving more stuff more often. In this particular case, I would not recommend dressing your units entirely as strippers and expecting their lack of armor to, work out just fine, but it is enough to the point where if you're running something like a solo, using Denim's Necklace as well as a dodge or sidestep item is usually going to be significant enough that it will regularly keep that unit alive. It's something that can be relied upon enough to the point that it will make a lot of challenge runs possible. Again, by itself, it's not necessarily going to be the thing that saves you, but in many cases, it will make the difference. It's obviously going to be hard to quantify, being a random chance roll, but it is going to be something that may potentially save your bacon in a lot of situations. Like I was saying earlier, it's just generally a good idea that if you're running something like an avoidance build, that you potentially might consider something like having these luck items on hand. Like I said, in his particular case, if he were to go for something like the Azure Necklace, it's generally going to be the best luck item in the game, just due to the fact that it gives you a bunch of other fantastic bonuses as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't have its stun proof this time around, but it's, kind of whatever as far as that goes. Now, in terms of the rolls that it affects, as with everything, it's a little bit unclear. It seems to affect parry rate, but it's hard to recreate. There have been times that I've seen a high luck unit having a lucky day, repeatedly pairing stuff back and forth, but luck only, or parry does not seem to stack as high as it used to before, so I can't necessarily recreate it in a way that they can be like, you know, here's the smoking gun, here's them parrying like 8 attacks in a row, but it does feel like it actually improves it. I can't guarantee that improves the odds of auto skills landing, but it sure feels like it does. I can't guarantee that it changes any of those odds in terms of those auto skills landing their abilities, but again, it's possible. It seems to be any time that it's a number under 100%, it'll suddenly think about changing some things. Now, I don't know if it has any particular interaction with the weapon and their debuff chance, as well as those auto skills and on the offensive side, namely something like, for example, glare. I'm not really sure that percentage can move any. Again, it's not changing that percentage; it's changing the kind of bias of the roll, so to speak, I believe. So, what exactly does that potentially explain? Possibly absolutely nothing. It basically makes your crits land more often, it makes your dodges land more often, and honestly, it's hard to tell exactly when it's doing what, but generally I would recommend that if you're looking at something like endgame casters or any multi-hit casters, absolutely consider having crit items on them. In a lot of cases, they don't necessarily have too many better options anyway. Personally, I've been running a Valkyrie using Denim's necklace, as well as the alluring dress and alluring high boots for the longest time, and she's been incredibly consistent at just landing crits even before getting any crit cards. It's just it's one of those nice builds that allows you to build up something that the cards can do before you get a hold of cards. In the case of something like Shamans, it's not a bad choice as well, since obviously you're spamming a lot of hits on them. Something like Patriarchs, generally speaking, they're usually better off with the ring, because they've usually got better options for their other slots. I mean, it's not going to replace something like heavy armor in terms of defense, but it is certainly going to be very useful in a lot of cases like this, where you want to see somebody potentially getting that additional one-shot potential. Additionally, there's some units that absolutely do not need luck, so for example, warriors and archers can guarantee their crits anyway, as well as swordmasters, so there's really no particular reason to be running luck on them unless the items are already conveniently there. Usually, when it comes to, like, even say something like preempt on a swordmaster, you're usually better off searching for those skill cards. They're common enough. For auto chance, I'm not really sure that it necessarily affects it, but it sure feels like it does. Like, this guy doesn't have a skill card chance, yet he has rolled his skill cards almost every time. Alright, so I believe that's all the interactions that luck has. Previously, funnily enough, it actually used to partially affect your crafting odds back in the PSP version. Either way, hopefully this helps. Definitely it's one of those skills that you'll probably see more in terms of extreme min-max cases or challenge runs. And generally speaking, if you're looking at a case where somebody's going to be dodging a whole lot, like it's really one of those stats that vastly improves your dodge chances under certain circumstances. So like right here, this guy's avoidance is not high enough to really make it stick, but if he were, for example, to be naturally talented towards avoidance, stacked up a dodge card as well as fought in heavy rain, his dodge chances would be incredibly high. In fact, let's go ahead and show that real quick. Okay, that was a total accident, but then all of a sudden it started raining really heavily. We'll see if this is potentially going to be enough to make it work. So he's gone ahead and taken a heal. He actually has a dodge item on him. We'll switch him over to manual real quick. But heavy rain improves your chances to dodge pretty much anything physical. Dodge by itself also improves your chances to dodge. Additionally, when it comes to things like water tiles, if you surround yourself in water tiles, the units around you will have less of an accuracy bonus. If they have good footing, like right here, I don't know why this ninja's hiding in the rain exactly, but for example, if we were to go over to a tile like this one right here, where potentially they may not have the option to attack except from the water, and potentially put on a dodge item, there's a pretty decent chance that if they go in the water, we're going to have very high chances to dodge that attack. Alright, there we go. This one's looking pretty good. By the way, just a quick little note here on the kind of the differences that a talent makes for a particular unit. If we look over here, we see that her avoidance, despite the fact that she is 8 levels lower than this guy, is at the exact same point. But now we'll go ahead and match up their levels real quick. And what I'm saying by a talent, by the way, is generally speaking, when a unit is at the store, you can usually see that a certain skill is at or close to 40. Those are going to be their talent skills, and usually if you want to build a unit for a particular thing, like for example if you're building an archer, you definitely want to have a dex talented unit. If you want to make a good berserker, you definitely want a strength talented unit, etc. Like most of your starting team will already be talented towards their particular things there. But in this case, you'll notice that they're going to be a massive difference in terms of all of this stuff here. So both of these are just straight out of the shop units. Both of them are luck builds. In her case, she's built more towards evasion. He's built more towards luck. But just to give you an idea of what basic out-of-the-shop units can do with just luck alone, because it is fairly significant, but again, you know, hard to actually quantify there. Okay, say you want to get the most out of your luck build. Definitely would say avoidance builds benefit the most from these guys. Avoidance builds and magic caster builds, especially multi-hitters, are going to benefit by far the most from luck there. As far as luck is concerned, if it says that your day is pretty much, like if it says to expect great things, then you're already on the right track. If it says everything you touch will turn to gold, then you've basically maxed it out. Again, for natural crits, the breakpoint seems to be somewhere around the 75 to 80 mark on the scale of 0 to 100. So usually a couple of luck items are really all you need to reach that point. There's some days where you will naturally just reach that luck point. Additionally, any cards that you pick up, there was a bit of a rumor a little while ago that those cards were permanent. That's not the case. They last until the end of the fight, and then it's kind of reset from there. So in terms of the cards themselves, it's not necessarily something that you need to focus on. Like in terms of the luck cards and things like that. I've heard some folks mention that they were a bit disappointed that they weren't permanent, but again, luck is on a scale from 0 to 100. The reason that you're getting plus 20 is because it's essentially going up by 1/5 of the value. At the same time, if you equip a luck item, you know, you're gonna have some pretty good results out of that. But there you go, 8% dodge out of that guy. It's not like it was impossible before, but you will start noticing those situations where it just becomes increasingly common for them to dodge seemingly impossible things. Another random mechanical note before I forget about this yet again, for whatever reason, when it comes to ninja magic, it actually doesn't check its weapon skill. I'm not sure if it's just because it's meant to be locked into a particular kind of scaling or, you know, what have you. Either way, it's just kind of a funny little quirk at this point, where the weapon and the magic stuff is entirely independent. So, for example, if you wanted to run a ninja unit that's just, for example, poison arrows and summons, you absolutely do not need a weapon skill to actually make that function, just so you're aware. But yeah, as you can see, these two lucky ninjas are going to be doing a pretty good job carving through all these guys. It's not something that, you know, no other unit can do, but just to give you an idea of the weird, hidden, like, just push they're getting from luck itself. Just the additional parries, the additional blocks. You feel it. It's really one of those ones that you feel more than anything else. It's even when I tried to recreate it in tests, it was like it improved the consistency of things like blocks and parries and whatnot, but it didn't necessarily change the overall count, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like it took all of those things that maybe would have been like a lucky bubble of back-to-back events here or there, and it made them more consistent. Again, that doesn't necessarily guarantee anything, it's just kind of one of those so you're aware kind of situations. Okay, there was also actually one more thing that somebody just brought up here that I want to test. Namely, they were saying that when it comes to curse, apparently it does actually lower luck. So let's see, we've got 6 stars right here. We've got, what are you at? Looks like 5 stars on you. Mystic Nick should be maxed out. Additionally, Lucky Flo should be maxed out too. Nope, she's at 9 rather than 10. So let's go ahead and test this thing, see if it actually does lower luck. Which, actually, I was planning to get all of them, but screw it. Anyway, ended up missing Pumpkin Stuffleys, but let's see. Did it actually lower her luck at all? It's going to be interesting. No kidding! It actually does do that. That's hilarious. So she was almost maxed out. What about him? He is maxed out. No shit! It actually lowers it down. Okay, so presumably it lowers it down to 0. That is hilarious. Okay, so that actually is absolutely confirmed. Nice. Absolutely nice. I love that. Now, this has come up over and over and over again. This specific particular one that got me to even test this, I thought they were joking at first, was from Alex Vance. Either way, so fantastic. That's awesome. So Curse does have an effect on luck. Presumably it would have done in PSP as well, but I don't know for sure. But so in that case, it's not that it actually affects crit chance from the unit itself. It's not that it hits the crit chance itself, but it lowers their luck down to nothing. That's awesome. I love that. All right, take care. So that's that for the mysterious world of luck and all of that kind of stuff. This is a really fun skill to play around, and one of those ones that again oftentimes can feel like it's maybe not doing anything. So don't focus on it by itself. Like, if we're being honest here, it's really not one that you want to exclusively work on. But if you find yourself in a situation where you've got a item that boosts luck, you've got a unit that might benefit from it. Again, any multi-hit units will scale up dramatically well from this stuff. Any very defensive units will scale up dramatically well. Like, actually, high boots on a on something like a knight is actually not a terrible idea. Either way, just something to consider. It's situational. It's not overpowered or anything, but it is very fun to observe. So anyway, y'all have a good one. Take care, and I will see you next time.